Hi, thank you so much for taking the time today to listen to my presentation on how to choose the perfect bike for you. My name is Alexandra and I have been a bike shop manager for the last 2 years. Okay, so in this presentation we're going to discuss the key features of finding the perfect bike. So that is your frame, that is the bars, and that is the sizing. Any questions? Alright, so first up is bike frames. This right here is a classic mountain bike frame. On this mountain bike frame you can see there's suspension in the front and the back. This means that this bike is fairly heavy. There's not always back suspension, but there's always going to be front suspension. Really helps when you're going down trails. I do not recommend this bike for typical day-to-day riding or commuting because it is so heavy. This over here is a classic diamond frame. It's got a diamond shape right there in the middle. It's the most common bike frame that you're going to see. Really great for touring, really great for commuting, really great for gravel. It's the classic for a reason. Tends to also be the lightest. Over here is the step through, also known as the cruiser bike. It's got a really nice low step through, which makes it easy to get on and off of. Really good for people with knee or hip issues. Starting to get lighter, almost as light as this one, if not as light now. Next up is handlebars. So this handlebar over here is called the W-shaped bar or the cruiser bar. This one is really great for people with shoulder, neck, or back pains. It's also a more casual ride because it keeps you more upright by having your hands closer to you. Over here is a straight bar or a flat bar. You see the one I chose to demonstrate has a slight bend in it. The more of a bend, the more relaxed, till it eventually turns into this. Some of them really strict straight across. A lot harder on your wrists. A little bit more beginner friendly because it's slightly easier to handle. And it's not quite as dropped down as the drop bars. Next up is the drop bars. These bars over here, this is a side view. As you can see, it drops down low. You're going to be really low on this bike. From the top view, you can see it's kind of got that T shape. That means you have 5 different hand grips. So really great for long rides, keeping your wrists feeling fresh. Can be a bit hard on your neck and your back. Over here is the bike fit. Obviously one of the most important things, putting it all together to make sure it's comfortable for you. So this red dot is your hip. You want to make sure that your saddle is at the top of your hip bone. This is your saddle here. Super easy to bring that up and down. If it's too high, you're going to be a crash risk, and if it's too low, you're going to really hurt your knees. Okay, next we have this blue line here. That's going to be where the top of the bar comes when you're standing above it. So you want to make sure that you have at least 2-ish inches above the top of that bar. Not as much of an issue for a step through. But if you don't have enough clearance, when you stop in an emergency situation, you're going to hurt yourself. Okay, lastly, we have the arm bit. So you want your arms to be slightly bent when they reach towards the handlebar. That's going to help buff out any bumps that you come across. It's, of the 3 things I showed you, the one thing that can be a bit more by feel. When you take your bike for a test ride, you should be able to be like, oh yeah, maybe my elbow hurts a bit. That's a sign that it's too locked in. Any questions? Okay. All right, so now we're going to be putting it all together. So if you're going with a mountain bike, you're probably going to have that straight bar option. You could possibly do drop down as a cruiser. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. You've got a cruiser bike here, paired with classic cruiser handlebar to make you nice and upright. And then we've got the road bike here. Really great for those longer rides, really light, and what most people think of when they think of a classic bike. Any questions? I know that I feel like I've info dumped a little bit on you. All right, thank you so much.